Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of Sunscreen Saturday. It's been a couple of weeks because we've been hit with a bunch of new makeup releases and I wanted to get those out as soon as possible. But we are back to Sunscreen Saturday. I have several things lined up and a couple more things that I want to get. So let's get into today's offering. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot. Before we get into today's offering, I wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping. If you are like me and you have more than one sunscreen, I know there's many people out there who have a ride or die and that's it, that's all they use. But if you're watching this, there's a good chance you haven't found your ride or die and you may have several things. You may have a 20, you may have a 30, you may have a 40, you may have something that's waterproof, you may have things for the body, you could have any iteration. I like to, twice a year, go through my sunscreens. January is a good time and June is a good time, and check my expiration dates because the mind plays tricks and I look at things and I think, oh yeah, I got that recently, and then I look at the date, there's not so much. I did my cleaning out a few days ago and I threw away 4 sunscreens and one of them had already expired. And luckily I haven't been putting it on my face, I've been putting it on my chest, but still, I think when there's an expiration date, it doesn't mean that date it's dead, but I would say you're losing efficacy pretty steeply and you shouldn't be using it past your expiration date. If you only have a ride or die, you're going to finish your bottle before it expires, unless you have old stock. So always check your expiration date so you know when you get it that it's not something that's going to expire in 6 months. Generally, most bottles, I think when you get a fresh batch, lasts for about 2 years, but that varies, so check your dates. Okay, done with housekeeping. So someone I follow, Gothamista, had done her favorite sunscreens from the drugstore the other day, and I decided to take 2 of those, and by extension 3, and we'll get into it, and give them a look, because one of them I didn't even know they made sunscreen, and that is Garnier. So this is the Garnier Canna B. So there's cannabis in here in some function. I'm going to put on my glasses and we're going to take a look. In the video she said she found this to be moisturizing, and she said if you have normal to oily skin, this might be all the moisture that you need. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. But when I got the box, when I got to the drugstore, when something says something like Pore Perfecting, I'm thinking this is actually not something that's a moisturizer for normal to oily. This is something for oily skin. The word pore means oily to me. And so I took a closer look and I was surprised that she suggested this, because she has said in the past that her skin is dehydrated and dry. And this is made for oily skin people. It says here, combo to oily, and it just kind of worries me. It has vitamin B3 and cannabis sativa seed oil. It is a serum cream, which doesn't make sense. How can you be a serum and a cream? You're one or the other. And now I have to get this out. So we have avobenzone 3%, homosalate at 5%, octosalate at 5%, and octocrylene at 7.2%. And they are saying it is the power of pore perfecting serum. Pores look reduced in 1 week. The lasting moisture of a cream, fast absorbing, non-greasy formula, sinks into the skin and replenishes it for 24 hours, which is weird. Protection of a broad spectrum, SPF 30, decreases the risk of skin cancer. Okay, we all know that. Skin looks instantly less oily, so there's a mattifying nature to this, which might not be bad on some occasions because my skin usually looks a little shiny. Maybe if I wanted a less shiny look, this is something I might go to. Skin texture is visibly improved in 3 days, and skin imperfections look reduced in 1 week. Inactive ingredients: glycerin, dimethicone, silica, niacinamide, cannabis, sativa, seed oil. Thought I could do it without this. Tocopherol. Aha, I knew it. salicylic acid. Salicylic acid is something that is good for people with congested skin, and it is an BHA. And it does not agree with my skin. I really am a believer not using products that are made for different skin types. You know, if you were oily, you wouldn't take a La Mer heavy cream and put it on your skin. It would be like, oh my goodness, no. Same thing, if you're dry, it's not a good thing to use products that are made for people who have oily skin or congested skin. But we are going to give it a go. I like to use a measuring spoon when I'm on the channel, when I'm shooting something. I know what a quarter teaspoon looks like in my hands, but I'd say a lot of people don't. So it's a good idea to use your teaspoon for a week or so, empty it into your hand, and you get a good idea of what it looks like in your hand, and then you don't have to do it anymore. But let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and now I'm just going to tap it. I'd say that's about right, 8. And this is what a quarter teaspoon looks like. And there's just a little bit left in here. So the texture is not really serumy, because to me a serum would run, but it's like a light cream. And these are what the peaks look like. And let's put on the face. Here's the math, you guys, and you can just do the math instead if you want to. It's 2 millimeters of sunscreen per centimeter squared of surface. So that roughly is a quarter teaspoon for your face, depending on how big your face is. For a man, it's a quarter teaspoon. For a woman, it might be a little bit less. So I usually bring down to the neck and use a heaping quarter spoon. And I figure that is good enough. And it's far more than most people use. And it's moving around fine, but I do feel this, something about it. It's not feeling as creamy as it looks. It's interesting. Maybe it's the mattifying kind of factor coming in, and it's drying down much quicker than most sunscreens that I use. So yeah, this is very different for me. I'm just going to do like 2 more pumps. Oh, it smells kind of like cucumber to me. You can see though that this whiteness goes away, which is usually the case with a chemical sunscreen. And yes, I do understand the mattifying aspect to this, although this is dry. It feels dry. I'm feeling some tightening, the kind of tightening that indicates that the liquid is evaporating. My face is still shiny. This shine is not any different. So I'm not really so sure about the mattifying effect. It's interesting. I feel this tightening, which would indicate that the water is evaporating and this is setting up, but it doesn't feel set up to the touch. So on my hands, it still has a creamy kind of feeling. And on my face, it feels like it's setting up to a dry touch. I feel that tightening, but when I touch it, it's not a dry touch. And I kind of don't like that. If I'm going to get that uncomfortable tightening feeling, I would prefer that it actually is dry to the touch. That's kind of unusual. Usually after I put on my sunscreen, I wait for a period of time before I go in with my foundation. How long I wait completely depends on the sunscreen and what it feels like, and I can kind of tell it's done setting up or needs a little more time. So I'm going to go in because I'm feeling that tightening. It doesn't feel loosey-goosey, but I feel its presence. I'm going to go in, you guys, and I always go in with the Makeup Forever Reboot. I use this with all of my sunscreen testing, just so I have a baseline. Let's go. 2, ... I, most of the time, about 90% of the time, I like to put on my foundation with my fingers. And if there's any pilling or balling or discontent between the products, you can really tell with the fingers because you can feel it happening. Where when you're using a brush or a sponge, you might not notice it until you look in a magnified mirror. And there are no issues with this, none. I am beginning to feel a little bit of stinging, which I never feel from the Makeup Forever. I think it could be the salicylic acid, honestly. Ouch. Ouchie mama. Yes. So the other day when I put on my skincare, I could feel, not with everything I put on, but with certain things, oh, there's some stinging here. If there's any kind of active in it, I could feel some stinging, basically this triangular area. So, you know, I had done my microneedling probably a little bit more than a week ago, and when I did my skincare this morning, not one product made me feel, ooh, stinging. So I'm going to say it's coming from this. So it's just a little stingy, tingling for me right through here, right around the cheekbone. Yeah, from the cheeks to the cheekbone and right on the bridge of the nose. It's pretty hot, actually. It feels pretty hot. I think it's the salicylic acid. Not to worry, you guys. I have gotten this in another formula, but I am going to wear this for the day and see how I feel. It's early for me. It's 10:30, so I will hopefully still have good enough light. It's not going to be great, and I'll come back around 4 o'clock and let you know how this feels on my skin. And it's worth noting, you guys, that I am 58 years old. This is all down below, and my skin is mature on the drier side. I used to think it was normal to dry. Lately, it's been feeling a little bit more dry. I don't have flaky bits in particular. I am retinizing a little bit right here, but that's not flakiness from my skin. It's flakiness from putting stuff on my skin. Yeah, it looks nice. It doesn't feel nice. Ouch. Yeah, I'm not liking the feel of this so far. I'll be back in 5 hours. All right, you guys, it is 2:30, so it's about 4 hours later, and I'm doing it now because I have some conclusions and because the light's going to be much, much worse by 4 o'clock. So here are my thoughts. That feeling that I had, that tingling feeling, has not abated. It's moved. It moved around over here. I got it on the forehead. Then I started getting it around here. And then I started getting it right here. So where these two angles kind of meet from the chest and the neck, ouchie, kabouchie. So this hurts. It hurts so much that this entire time I've been wanting to wash my face and just start all over with something else. It feels like a sunburn, like a splotchy sunburn. Oh, and like right now, it's starting to hurt right here. It's very, very odd. I am going to say this must be the salicylic acid, but I don't know for sure. But for me, ouch. Let's talk about a couple of other things that might have to do with somebody else. This is for combo to oily skin. It says so on the box. And about 20 minutes ago, all of a sudden, I started feeling greasy, which is a feeling I have not had, in a very, very long time, unless I've actually put a very emollient or even greasy substance on my face at night. I've never had it feel like it's coming from within my skin. And I'm not oily. I'm pretty much normal to dry and leaning a little bit more towards dry lately. And I can't understand what's going on my face. It's just like so much, like ouch, ouch, ouch. And all of a sudden, right through here, like grease. What is going on? It doesn't feel greasy. Like if I touch this side to this side, there's no difference in the feeling. Do you know what I mean? It's not to the touch, it's the feeling. Like, ew, my face feels greasy. Now, this is supposed to be mattifying for people who have oily skin. And you saw when I put this on, I started with a shine and I ended with a shine. It didn't mattify me at all. I didn't put on any powder today. I don't think it looks bad. But if you are looking to be mattified, maybe there's some kind of alchemy that happens with an oily skin type where it will mattify, and that alchemy didn't happen with me because I'm not oily. I don't know. It's just I'm perplexed by this totally. It disappeared. My foundation went on fine. It's the after effects that are confusing to me. Like, why does my skin hurt? Why do I have a shine when it's supposed to be mattified? I think that's it, you guys. I feel like I'm sunburned. I feel like I'm greasy. I'm shiny when I shouldn't be. This is supposed to be mattifying. My conclusions are, I never want this on my face again, ever. And I got it at Target. They don't take returns, so I will just putting this on the chest because it's the only thing that doesn't hurt. And I may just like put it on my arms, and when I'm walking loosey, have a little protection on my arms. But never, ever will this grace my face again. I made a rhyme. It hurts. Yeah. So, by the way, this is a makeup look that I shot. I finally got the Makeup by Mario contour, so I did my third and final. I know it's a lot, but I'm really impressed with this collection. So I also did the blushes, which are holding on very nicely. I did the contour, and then I did another contour, and then the eyes I did by myself when I finished that other video because I felt like playing with makeup. So that's it. Now the good news is they have 3 formulas, and I got another one, and this is the one that is called, what is it called? Hylumelon. I'm sure they need hyaluronic acid and watermelon together. It smells like watermelon, which doesn't really thrill me, and there's fragrance added. And I have a feeling the fragrance they added was the watermelon. You can put watermelon in here without putting the fragrance. It's okay with me. There's no fragrance in here. But this is very, very difficult for me. And I feel very certain, but I don't know 100%. I think it's the salicylic acid in here that is just not making my skin happy. And that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. I hope this was helpful to you, and I hope you come back again. Until we meet again, be safe, be smart, and wishing you good health.